On this week's episode of the Business of Meeting podcast, I'm speaking with Olamide Awofeso. She has created her own company, consultancy in marketing and events. She has a background in PR. She's also working with a nonprofit about multicultural events. And she is a rock star on Clubhouse. Enjoy listening to Ola. Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Business of Meeting podcast. Today, I'm extremely honored to speak with Olamide Awofeso, Ola, as she wants us to call her. She's been working in marketing and PR. She was working previously for another agency on accounts like Walmart, J&J, Loreal, Procter and Gamble. And interestingly enough, I met Ola on Clubhouse, and I was so impressed by the community she's building, by the information she's sharing, that I asked her to come on the podcast. Ola, thank you so much for taking the time today.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
With great pleasure. So if we can go back first to your background and how do you touch the event space? How did you discover it? How did you fall into it?
Definitely. So I started my career in public relations, and public relations is it's an industry that encompasses events as a whole. You're looking for placements for your clients. You're looking for events that they can go to and really show off who they are and whatever it is that their work may be. So I started my career in that realm, and mostly working with clients in art and decor. So I had to do placements for individuals who were in art, design, also people who are entrepreneurs, and we had to get them in Elle Decor, Architectural Digest. We had to place them in different fairs. So I went to New York Design Fair, the Frieze Art Fair, and things like that. So going to a lot of those trade shows really opened my eyes to the events industry. And I was just really amazed at so much going to those fairs, especially because they're so detailed, those conferences and so forth. And that's essentially where I got my foot in events.
That's awesome. Well, when I studied business, I have to tell you, I had no idea there was such an industry.
Yes.
But really fell into it. And so one project leading to another. Now you also have your own consultancy, Eco Consulting, where you consult for marketing, for events, as well as for nonprofit. You connect them with the multicultural audience. You connect the multicultural audience with marketing, events, and partnerships. So how do you do that? And as a business owner, how did you decide one day, I want to have my business and this is what I'm going to do?
Yes, definitely. So I planned a wedding before, a 500-person wedding, and I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it. And something I always say to anyone coming into events is to really know your niche. And it's okay to try different things because then you'll know what you like and what you do not like. Mm-hmm. And it's actually funny because some people would say the meeting and corporate kind of planning is the boring one, but I feel like it's the one that also has the most project management. I feel like it's the one that also entails a lot of sponsorships that you have to garner for these type of events versus a wedding, which is, it can just be one day versus a conference that can take a number of days, right? Or a webinar or workshop that can take a number of days. So it really takes a lot of planning in that. And for me, with my PR and marketing background, I really loved that space. I felt like my skills could really hone in on that and they could be of use most effectively in that industry. So that's how I got into it. I really, truly loved the meeting space, the conference space, the webinars, workshops, and things like that. And I'm someone who loves meeting new people. And that's something that really pushed me to really define that as my niche.
Awesome. And now you're also focusing, which will be all your work, to connect with multicultural audience, to make sure as well that people of color are well represented.
Yes.
How do you do that? What is the action you're taking for that?
Yeah, so I currently work with a nonprofit that specifically it's garnered to help get more Black people into technology. So what I do on a daily basis, I look at different tech companies and I'm seeing, what are their current initiatives? Are they looking to get more African American and Black talent into that space? And how are they doing so? So as the marketing and the events person for that organization, I pitch them. I let them know what's going on. I'm in constant communication with growth marketing managers whose responsibility is to help make the company grow, right? So those people I'm in touch with. I'm in touch with recruiters, speaking to them as well of different initiatives, and also community managers. So those people are responsible for making sure that that community for that organization is essentially growing. So that's my day-to-day, just coming up with different initiatives too, to see how different nonprofits can really benefit from that organization and that brand.
Very good. And then I look at what you're doing in terms of community building. There's to me two type of groups. The first group is about to say, if you don't understand something, teach it. If you cannot teach it, become a consultant. And then there's the other group like you who actually are doing it. And so you've built an amazing community. And I'm sure this was already before Clubhouse, but definitely leveraging Clubhouse. So for people who are listening, who are business owners, who are maybe thinking of starting their own community or joining some, what did you do? How did you start? How did you become successful in creating community? And then maybe afterwards we can speak a little bit more about how you're leveraging Clubhouse for that.
Yes, most definitely. So the first thing that I would say is to find out a space that is not being served. So when I first got onto Clubhouse, I didn't see any event planning clubs at all. There was nothing for us. So I created it. And by doing that, I had conversations about different topics, was bringing people up to the stage on Clubhouse, happy to talk about that expertise. And from then and henceforth, I started to host rooms more frequently. And another thing I did was to tap another person who I loved what she was saying in the room, and she became my co-moderator for that room. And something I know a lot of people don't, some people may not leverage is the power of collaboration. Mm-hmm. Collaboration is very big if you want to create an effective and impactful community. That's something I would give to any event planner, meeting planner, trying to build a community. And also listen to your audience, right? So I think that's something we all have to pay attention to. And that's something it's an ongoing thing, not just listening to once or twice, and really listening into what are their needs, what would they like to talk about, and also give them a space to speak. So on the Clubhouse app, sometimes people don't allow others to speak as frequently in the rooms, but I wanted to really give other people a chance to speak. So at the beginning, I was doing more panel style, and then I switched it to more open discussions because I wanted to hear from people. I didn't just want to always keep it as a panel style. And, Clubhouse is about community building and allowing other people to come in with their ideas and speak freely about whatever it is that their expertise is. So that's another thing. And also just be very authentic. So for me, when I was joining this app and I created this community, I just wanted to be as authentic as possible. I'm very candid about my background and my experience, and what I know, I share with people. And I also really empower them when it comes to their industry. I'm not someone who's going to belittle anyone based on their expertise. I feel like anyone who's starting out has just as much value to add to the conversation, as well as a 10-year plus expert.
Absolutely. And to your point, the other way around, it's not because you're not well known or you don't have 10 years of experience that you should be afraid of sharing your experience and your ideas, right?
Yes.
So you said you met your co-moderator on Clubhouse and started working with her?
Yes. So I knew if I wanted to grow this club and just take it to another level, I couldn't just do it alone. So I added a co-moderator. And she works for currently the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and she's great. She's in she's an event producer in the experiential space as well. So we bounce ideas off of one another too. So that was something I'm very grateful that I reached out to her and we co-moderate the room together.
Awesome. Well done. And really impressed with what you're doing there. I know one of the other passion that you have or other advice that you have is to understand your purpose. So I definitely concur with that. The question is, how do you come to a point where you can define your purpose, truly understand it, and basically act to really get into your purpose and be aligned with that? How did you come to that realization?
That's a great question. So for me, navigating my purpose was all about trial and error. I had to really be comfortable to step outside the box and really allow myself to shine. it was something I didn't do previously when I was younger. I was afraid. I was very timid. I wasn't sure of myself and what I had to say. But when, sometimes it's a saying that it takes a certain situation to really shift your mindset and for you to really walk into your calling. So for me, that's essentially what happened. And I really had to decide, is my purpose just about me, or is it going to be about impacting other people as well? So that's something for me. I am a big person on impact. I started doing these events because I wanted to educate people about their careers and personal development. So that for me was also a big thing. And I think once you do that, you align your calling, your purpose, and that impact, you can go very far from there. So that's something I would definitely say. And also, don't be afraid if you don't get it right the first time. I think sometimes when it comes to our purpose, some of us are unsure, but you have to really take a step back and understand, what am I good at? What do I believe I'm meant to do? And who am I serving? Because at the end of the day, you're not just serving yourself. Mm-hmm. Because if you're just serving yourself, what impact do you really have in this world?
Totally agree. Was there a specific event that opened your mind to that?
Yes. So when I was younger, I was doing a lot of contracting work. So, when you're doing freelance work here and there, you start to question yourself, just like, is it possible for me to really, get full-time work? And, contracting work is great. Some people love it, but at the same time, it doesn't bring in as much security. And when you're a young person in your early 20s, mid 20s, you can question yourself on that, right? You see your friends doing other things. They're working with various companies and you're just getting contracted in freelance work. So for me, I really had to decide, I did my first event because I wanted to educate people who were struggling in their careers. So by taking a situation that maybe was not the best for me, I knew I could flip it around and somehow help other people with their own situation.
Interesting. And now you're an entrepreneur.
Yes.
So the security part is also something, the roller coaster of the entrepreneurship, probably not the most secure situation, and definitely one of the most exciting for those who love it, right?
Yes.
So how did you decide to say, okay, I'm going to have now my own company?
Yes. So for me, creating my own company was just about what other factors do I want to add to this world aside from corporate. Corporate is great too, but I just wanted to decide what will be my own legacy aside from working a corporate job and et cetera. What is going to be my legacy and what other kind of value can I add to other people aside from them knowing where I work? That's great. But who do they, what do they know about me? And, do they know the work and value that I bring to the table when it comes to events?
Got it. And when did you start a company?
Excuse me?
When did you start your company?
Oh, so I started my company 5 years ago.
Okay. And looking back, is there anything you would have done differently? And I'm asking the question specifically for all those who are now thinking of starting their own company.
Yes. So for me, I rebranded it last year. So I changed the name and everything like that. And that's okay because I wanted to shift who my client would be. So before my company had a certain title in it, I removed it. And that's okay because after years of doing this, it's okay. Your business model may change. So I think that's something everyone can learn from. It's okay to shift. It's okay to pivot. It's okay to go in another direction.
Absolutely. And quite frankly, last year and this year proved us that regardless of your business model, I mean, you can it's broken. You really have to look at the business model again. Did you start with some mentors or friends that, like you, were going into entrepreneurship, that you exchange your success and your fear, or you just went on your own?
So for me, I just went on my own, but throughout the years, I have mentors and people who I seek advice from. My brother is a full-time entrepreneur, so I speak to him as well.
Awesome. And for those who don't have the chance of having a brother who's a full-time entrepreneur as well, what would be your advice in terms of not being alone or breaking the solitude of the entrepreneur?
Yeah, so my first thing is to really tell your circle about what you're doing. It's okay if whether if you want to be a full-time entrepreneur or a part-time entrepreneur, an entrepreneur is still an entrepreneur. Don't allow anyone to make you feel a certain way because you may be part-time, versus full-time. You're still an entrepreneur. As a lot of people in this industry can tell you, a lot of people were building their skill sets at their day job, right? They were building their skill sets at their part-time job. So for me, I think that's something that's very important. Tell your circle, tell your network about your business, because at the end of the day, a lot of people get business because of referrals. Social media is another great tool, but not every business owner is on social media, right? And just because they're not on social media doesn't mean that they're not bringing or generating a sustainable income. Mm-hmm. There are people making great millions of dollars. Their business is not on social media because their audience is not on social media. So right. That's another thing for people to understand. Where is your audience, right? Are they going to be people who are email list heavy, Instagram heavy, Facebook heavy, Twitter heavy? It may not be those platforms, but email is still a very great form of contact and getting additional referrals and garnering community. So that's another thing. And I would definitely say, understand what your focus would be too. So anyone who, may not have that mentorship, understand your focus, because once you do, you can check out different videos, different ebooks, different podcasts about that niche and really perfect whatever it is you're doing.
Mm-hmm. And one additional question on that, for people like me, who quite frankly, I'm lucky that when I was a student in Belgium, they didn't know really about ADD, because I think I would have been diagnosed 5 times. But you have all those social media, and then you have all those tools besides email, the message you're getting on LinkedIn, the message you get in the direct message and Messenger, and then you have Instagram, and then some have Snapchat, and then you have Slack, and then and. What do you do to block time and make sure that every day you're achieving the task you need to achieve to be successful in your business?
Yes, definitely. So for me, it's definitely using Google. So having a calendar set of my daily priorities, that's something I really love. For me, it took some time previously because I felt like I was doing too many things at once. So I had to come to a conclusion that I need to block time out for whatever that task would be at hand. So I feel like when you're able to start your day like, okay, I'm going to do this from 9 to 11, this other thing from 11 to 3, you're more prone to actually do it versus you have no to-do list, nothing for your day. You will stall on your task and you won't get it completed. So for me, that was something that was great. And also having a project management tool. So I like Asana. It's something that I love it. I think it's a great project management tool for anyone. It's easy to use. It's not that complicated. And that's pretty much how I get things done, is really relying on project management tools and a calendar, essentially.
Yeah, good point. So I definitely have a calendar as well. I'm using the bullet journal because I like to take notes and have a global view of what I'm doing. I do block times. What you say about time blocking is absolutely essential. Yeah. And every day I'm thinking, okay, how am I going to win the day the next day? What are at least the 3 things that I need to be doing? But what works as well, really, for me, is actually to switch off all notifications.
Yeah.
If not, it's like playing a pinball machine. It's ringing all over the place. Yes. And every time I lost focus and concentration. So
definitely.
So you do the same?
So for me, turning off devices, that helps as well. I usually put it on silent versus completely off, but
right.
Silent. Yeah.
Very good. One last point that you mentioned to me when we were preparing is that you like talking about effective sponsorship. And I was really interested to hear about what you mean about effective sponsorship, especially for your client.
Definitely. So when I say effective sponsorship, I mean one that really aligns with whoever your client is. I think that's really important in understanding that particular brand, because at the end of the day, a lot of event planners, when we're looking for sponsorships, we want longevity. we don't want to just have this person for one event. We want to have them for multiple events. And that will build trust for you with that brand and with other people when they come to you. So you can say, I've worked with this brand X amount of times, they sponsored X amount of events. And your next client can say, wow, she really was able to duplicate that multiple times. Maybe she could do that for me. Maybe he could do that for me. So that's what I mean by effective. And also relationship building is a key thing too. So I think that's something that's very important when it comes to effective sponsorships is retaining that person for a long time events and also being able to be effective in that manner too.
Do you see any change in terms of sponsorship, relationship building, marketing after the pandemic?
So I think after the pandemic, because we are in a pandemic, like you said, and sponsorship dollars are still there. It's just going to be the job and duty of planners to take it up a notch and really get creative. So for me, when I'm planning different seminars and workshops and online conferences and career fairs, it's really up to us to decide how are we going to make any kind of sponsor happy in a way that they want. Some of them may be traditional. They don't, they may just want to slap logo, put a logo on the virtual event platform and that'll be all. But some, they want an increase. They want something different. So maybe that's a sponsorship kit. Maybe that's partnering with a beverage brand to do some kind of virtual masterclass, cocktail, building class or something like that. Maybe it's you're going to partner with Hallmark on custom cards that we can create from home when it comes to a Memorial Day weekend or whatever holiday that's aligned with whatever event you're planning. So I think it's going to be the duty of us to really get creative. And something I do, even what I'm doing right now is looking at different trends in the events industry too, and also looking at decor inspiration to see, okay, how can a sponsorship maybe tie into this or tie into that? And just being ahead of the curve and constantly educating myself on what's going on right now.
Excellent. And how do you educate yourself? What do you read? What are you listening to?
I like reading short form articles. Books are great, but sometimes it's just great. It's good to get things really quick. So I like the Event Manager blog. I like BizBash. Something else I also really like to read is Marketing Brew. So that is a newsletter that I get in my email box, I believe, once a week. And that tells you different marketing news and updates. So the reason why I do that is because they mention a bunch of companies and I can know what's going on in the marketing world. And, with Coca-Cola, with Snapchat, et cetera, to really understand, okay, they're putting this amount of dollars to X. And maybe if I'm doing an event that's in that realm, they would be able to sponsor it, et cetera.
Very good. And with all your readings and the trends that you're seeing, and I know that's the question I would ask with a crystal ball, but when do you see things reopening and what do you think is going to start first and what type of time frame should we be looking at?
Yes, definitely. So I know here in New York, Barclays Center, Citi Field, those stadiums, they're going to be opening soon. Governor Cuomo has said that people will be required to have prior COVID testing. These large venues are not going to be filled at capacity completely. I think maybe 10 to 25% capacity, one of the two. So events are already coming back in New York. They're already starting to plan pop-up events. Spring will be here, summer will be here. So they're already starting that in New York as well. So I think it's already going to happen. New York is usually the place that other states look to when it comes to reopening certain things and how things are being governed. So I think, especially since we have Madison Square Garden over here, that's one of the largest venues ever. A lot of performing artists, concerts, shows, etc., are held there. So I think that's going to be a huge breaker in this event realm that we're in. And I can't wait. I love concerts. I love going to Barclays Center. I love going to events in New York. That is the heart of New York. I love going to Broadway. So all of those events coming back it's really something I'm very excited for.
What are your favorite shows and favorite concert?
So my favorite concert that I've been to was actually a festival. So it was a Made in America festival that Jay-Z produced. The first time I went to that was 2012, and that was the best experience for me because it was the first time the concert took place. So that was really, really great. And interesting because I'm a New Yorker, but I've never been to a sports game. So I know, right? Everyone's like, you've never been to a Knicks game? So that's, with sports coming back, I'm looking forward to going to at least one, but I love concerts.
Awesome. And I look forward to seeing you live at one of the industry conference. And until then, how can people get in touch with you?
Definitely. So you can go to echoconsultingservices.com and you can message me there, and you can visit my website and we can take it from there. So echoconsultingservices.com is my website and you can contact me there.
Awesome. And on Clubhouse, what is the community you've built?
So the community I built is Event Planners and Producers United. So that's a club on Clubhouse.
Awesome. Ola, thank you so much for taking the time. And I look forward to seeing you live, hopefully this year.
Yes, definitely. Stay safe.
You too. Thank you.
No problem. Take care.
Thank you, Ola, for sharing your experience and your point of view about being an entrepreneur and what it takes to have really linked with your audience and making sure that you are serving your audience, that you understand it, and you do it that very well on Clubhouse again. So thanks a lot. If you want to get in touch with me, please reach out on LinkedIn or join my Facebook group, www.eventbusinessformula.com/group, where we discuss everything related to owning your business in the meetings and event industry. Thank you.